questions?
Yes, there's a hand from Puti, Shaz.
Okay.
Yes, I just wanted to check with the SERP pages. There's this AI overview thing that has been appearing the most every time I search for something. It's like the first section of the page nowadays.
Mhm.
AI overview. Will it be covered in terms of how to rank higher or even appear in the AI overview?
I think that we touch on it later on in the workshops, if I'm not mistaken. But to answer your question quickly, it's my understanding that the listings also has a lot to do when it comes to appearing in that AI overview. It also has a lot to do with the authority of your website, right? And also your SEO. So if your SEO is strong and your website authority is strong, you are likely then to be listed possibly as a suggestion from in the AI overview, or get your business page also tagged underneath a suggestion.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. If you have any more questions, please also feel free to drop them in the chat below. Okay. All right. So now that we've discussed the different elements that make up a search engine results page and also how they impact your listings, we are going to move on to why are these things important and why do they matter so much? Why do we need to take them into consideration, right? So we need to understand that when it comes to visibility, app packs and paid ads provide more of an immediate and quick visibility in a crowded marketplace. So these are important when you're not yet ranking high organically. Because, like I said, organic listings can take time because it requires effort over time, right? The next thing is targeted reach. It helps you get targeted reach. So paid ads and also, well optimized App Store listings allow you to reach a specific user segment most likely, and this segment is most likely to download your application and utilize your application because they are an engaged audience. It also builds trust. So things like the rich snippets that we discussed, right? The positive reviews, these establish credibility and encourage users to give your app a chance, because then users can see that people have downloaded your app. They are aware of your app's functionality, they've used it, and they've had a good user experience. So, again, it makes you credible in front of your target audience. Okay. So while we understand that, we need to also understand how to adapt your strategy based on your objectives, right? So if you have an established app and once you have a solid user base, you might shift your emphasis to more towards more of an organic growth and brand building. So this will obviously involve more content marketing, social media engagement, and also public relations where relevant, so that you can increase your brand awareness and also drive organic traffic to your app listing. However, if you have more of a niche app, you are targeting a specific target market or target audience, right? So you need to prioritize very specific long tail keywords, and you need to optimize them and target advertising to reach your specific user group. Okay. Um, so that's just understanding what your objectives are and also how to adjust your approach based on that. So now that we've taken a look at what makes up a search engine results page and what are the elements of it, I'd like to know some of your thoughts, right? So, which elements do you think that you would target and prioritize to reach the right target audience and bring users to your app? So, I'd like you to please drop your answers in the chat, and perhaps we can have one or two people here in the audience to unmute and let us know which of these elements would you prioritize and why. Anyone would like to give it a go? Some can also add it to the chat. Any takers? Yes, we have a hand, Muzi.
Yes, sorry, I just wanted to double check something. Would it be correct to say that sub elements are elements that you've already created somewhere else, meaning like your app title, descriptions, and everything, and whatever you have on your landing page, and then Google just pulls those elements, and those become the sub elements?
Yes, those are basically it, right? Because you have your app name developed, you have your app description developed. Those are things that you already have in place. However, we're focusing on optimizing those things. So when it comes to your description, it's not just just some description you put together or you got from ChatGPT, or you were very intentional when it came to your app description. So you need to understand your ideal target audience. What would they be searching for when they go to a search engine like Google, for example? What do you think they'd be searching for in order to find your app? How do you place your app in front of them from an organic perspective? So, what keywords do you need to focus on in your description? And also, when setting up your campaigns, if you are doing paid ads, then how are you optimizing those descriptions? Again, it just comes down to how do you make your copy and your wording of how you display your app and its information attractive to the right target audience. Okay. Do we have anyone who'd like to unmute and tell us how they would, or which elements they would prioritize for their SERP elements when it comes to maybe creating a campaign? Or we have them in the chat.
There is a comment from Global App, says App Pack. And Wiser Everyday said show app features. Kochiso said from my app, Travelhawk would bid on intent keywords like is South Africa safe or Cape Town trips before tourists even land. Yeah, so he said he's gonna bid on keywords.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. We have a hand, Kyle.
Yeah, I found that the use of open graph images and the descriptions actually work fairly well on each page. So each page that I work on, I make sure that it has its own title and description that is speaking specifically to the product or the service.
Okay, thank you so much. So yes, you are focusing on page optimization as well when it comes to your descriptions, and that's good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is how app packs and snippets boost visibility, right? So we've discussed the elements, but how do they actually get your app to be more visible on the search engine results page and also in front of your ideal target audience? So let's imagine, or let's go through an example scenario here, right? So imagine a user on their smartphone is searching for best productivity app, right? So when it comes to the app pack specifically, right? App packs allows the user, or rather allows the app to have prime real estate. So it's visually prominent. As you can see, the app pack is there, it's visual, it's big, it's a carousel. So when the search engine results appear, an app pack showcases the relevant productivity apps, right? Because that was searched for, and this might be displayed on the top. It's most likely to be displayed on the top. So this obviously instantly grabs the user attention. As you can see, it's the first thing that you look at. And instead of sifting through multiple websites and numerous results, we can easily see the listings on top, and that's ready to download. It also gives the user quick direct access. So it almost provides a frictionless path to download, again, encouraging quick downloads, quick clicks. So users can tap on your app's icon within the pack and be taken directly to its store page. And then this removes any extra steps and increases the likelihood of downloads and installation. It also increases the click-through rate, right? So the visual appeal and the visual elements there on the app pack increase the access offered to the ideal target audience. So users are most likely to click on the app icon in a visually engaging pack rather than just an organic standard listing. Okay. And then we move on to rich snippets. So the importance of rich snippets, again, as you can see, that it's very informative because it shares information and it's also engaging. So even though your app doesn't appear in the app pack, rich snippets can still enhance its organic listing. So you need to imagine that your listing is displaying your star ratings, so a high average rating from user review builds trust and credibility. Obviously, it tells your target audience that your app has been downloaded before and has been used by multiple different people. It has review snippets, which are positive comments from satisfied users who have used the app before, and it also maybe can touch on some of your app benefits. And it also has the download numbers, which is great again for credibility. So a large number of downloads signal popularity, as we know, and can encourage users to try your app. So you need to stand out from the crowd, and rich snippets allows you to do this because it is informative and it stands out in your organic results as well. And it can it can immensely increase your click-through rate even if your listing is positioned lower in the search engine results page. Okay, so the key takeaways for this example that we looked at, which was the productivity app, they obviously prioritize their app search optimization, and we know that this is important for appearing in the app packs. So again, you need to ensure that your title, your description, and your keywords are aligned and relevant with the search terms. In this case, it was maybe project management or task management, or even productivity tools, things like that. So it needs to be aligned and relevant to that. They've also encouraged reviews, as we saw. So users were actively encouraged to leave reviews, and this builds a strong rating and credibility and trust amongst other people within the target audience. Okay. And then the last thing that they also did was they monitored and iterated, which is very important. So you need to track your app's performance regularly in search engine results and adapt your app store optimization and marketing strategies accordingly. And we'll speak about how we can do this later on in this session. Okay. So now let's have a bit of a quiz. And we're going to do this on Slido. Just give me a minute to open it up. Okay, so yeah, let's take a short quiz, right? That's going to take us about 5 minutes. And this is going to help us see if we're all on the same page with our understanding so far. And I'm going to ask you two questions. This is the first one. So if you can just see and scan to submit your answers. So the first one is, um, what is the primary purpose of a search engine results page? So try and see amongst these listings, what do you think? Let's get some participation in. What do you think is the primary purpose of a SERP? Why is it there? Why is it important? Anyone? Can we start our participation in the poll? I'm going to give it one more minute. Okay, many people are saying it's the second option, which is to provide a list of websites to a search query, which is correct. So a search engine results page, or pages rather, are the primary interface through which users interact with search engines to find information, which include websites, apps, and also other content. Okay. So we can see that, yep, the first one, many of us got that correct. Okay, thank you. The next one that we're going to look at, I'd like you to please participate, is which of the following is a key element of a SERP? So is it social media posts, email newsletters, app stacks, or text messages? Let's see the answers coming through. Okay, I think we understand that app packs are important, and a lot of us got that one correct. Thank you for your participation. And we're going to move on to the next section, which is optimizing for app-specific searches on search engine results pages, right? So now we're going to look at something that I briefly mentioned earlier on in the session, which is on-page optimization. And this is important for organic listings. So you need to get your app on a search engine results page, and we know that. And we need to do this so that we can boost visibility and downloads, right? So we're going to go through a breakdown of how to optimize for app-specific searches and include the elements that you can control and the external factors that you need to adapt for organic listings. So on-page optimization, we know, is something that you can control and you can actively work at to get your app listed organically high on the search engine results page, right? So when we look at the app title and name, it needs to be relevant, right? So your app's name should be relevant to its core function or functionality and include those important keywords. So you need to think about what would users actually search for or type out in the search bar if they want to find your app or if you want your app to be listed for their query, right? It needs to be clear, so you need to keep it concise and easy to understand. Avoid using any difficult words or any jargon, anything that might confuse users and doesn't clearly communicate what your app is about. And you need to be consistent. So you need to maintain your consistency in your app, in your app's name specifically, across your website, across your app store listing, and any marketing materials, including if you are on social media. The next thing that is important is keywords. So, how do we optimize keywords, right? You need to do research. So, you need to really spend a lot of time researching relevant keywords that you want your app to list for. So, you can use tools like Sensor Tower or Google Keyword Planner, which is really great to identify high volume, low competition primary, secondary, and long tail keywords that you can use in your descriptions or your copy for your app as well. You need to consider the language that your target audience is familiar with and often uses, because again, you're listing for them. So what kind of language are they? Obviously you need to understand what are they searching for. Are they maybe professionals that are used to jargon? Maybe they are in the health industry, or are they just, young people searching for example, a communications or networking app? So you need to consider your audience. And then when it comes to your implementation of your keywords, right, you need to incorporate the keywords into your app title where possible, and then also your description. So try not to use too many keywords and do something that we call keyword stuffing. You need to focus on natural language, easy to read, easy to understand, and quick, short sentences that utilize those keywords. And then when we move on to the third element of on-page app optimization, which is app description, you need a compelling intro. So start with an engaging description of your app's value proposition, right? So, what problem does your app solve, and why exactly should users download it? You can also feature your highlights, so you can outline your features or the benefits of using your applications. Remember to use bullet points because that's quite easy to read and to grasp. And then it's important to also have a call to action. So you have your great description that's optimized, easy to read, and the users can, understand what your app is about. And then you need to close it off with a strong call to action that engages and encourages the users to